apocalyptic genre. It's traditionally credited to the all-star biblical figure Enoch. Yes, the very one who was Methuselah's dad and Noah's great-grandpa. Talk about a family tree with deep roots. But what's inside this ancient manuscript? It's like the ultimate supernatural expose. If you've ever lain awake at night pondering where demons and those mysterious Nephilim characters originated, one Enoch has some answers that could turn your nightmares into, well, slightly less scary nightmares. Then there's the scoop on why some angels got the boot from heaven. It's like a divine reality show where not everyone gets a halo at the end. And if you're into biblical blockbusters, the Book of Enoch dives into the backstory of the Genesis flood. Spoiler alert, it's not just about a big boat and a lot of rain. It's more like a cosmic cleanup operation with immoral overtones. But wait, there's more. The book also features a sneak peek into the future with a 1,000-year reign of the Messiah. It's a long-term forecast that makes your weather app look downright short-sighted. In short, one Enoch is a mix of ancient wisdom, celestial secrets, and divine drama, all rolled into one. It's the kind of read that makes you wonder if the ancients had their own version of a blockbuster movie script stashed away in the scrolls. Think of a time when the Enochian material was the equivalent of a bestseller, outshining even the likes of Ruth and First Chronicles in the Hebrew Bible. This was during the bustling Second Temple period around the time of the Maccabean Revolt and the Hasmonean dynasty. It's like finding out that a deep cut from a classic album was actually a chart topper in its day. This should tip us off to how big a deal these writings were for many folks in Judea. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, you need the lowdown on Enoch. Enoch was basically the biblical equivalent of your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa, being the seventh in line from Adam. He had a pretty impressive run, clocking in at 365 years, and then, plot twist, he was whisked away by God, as per Genesis. This was just a few curtain calls before the Great Flood, God's drastic measure against humanity's naughtiness. Now here's where it gets a bit sci-fi. Imagine divine beings coming down to Earth, getting starry-eyed over mortal women, and resulting in a bunch of giant offspring. It's like a crossover episode featuring characters like Hercules and Gilgamesh. The Genesis narrative, however, is a bit stingy on details about these larger-than-life figures and their divine dads. Flood myths are like the ancient world's version of a viral trend, popping up in cultures far and wide. Enter the Enochian texts, adding layers and intrigue to this familiar plot. In these writings, Enoch, a sort of ancient VIP, gives us the inside scoop on what led to the big flood, and even teases about the world's grand finale under a messianic ruler. The guy had a few heavenly encounters, which makes him quite the enigmatic figure. So in the grand tapestry of ancient tales, the Enochian texts are like those hidden gems that shed new light on well-worn stories, making them fresh and fascinating all over again. Let's delve into the enigmatic realm of the Book of Watchers, a mesmerizing segment of the ancient text, 1 Enoch. This section has long captivated scholars with its extraordinary and peculiar narratives. Our journey through its pages reveals the descent of the Watchers, fallen angels, whose arrival on Earth irrevocably altered human destiny. These celestial entities not only mingled with humanity, but also shared forbidden knowledge, leading to the emergence of the Nephilim, colossal beings of unparalleled strength and ferociousness, with legends suggesting they consumed humans and caused chaos worldwide. As we probe further, we encounter stories steeped in dark magic and mysticism, where the Watchers impart esoteric knowledge to humanity. They unveil the mysteries of astrology, herbology, and spellcasting, thus eroding the boundaries between the sacred and the profane. This infusion of hidden knowledge plunges the world into turmoil, marked by otherworldly occurrences and ethical decay, culminating in a scenario ripe for divine judgment and visions of apocalypse. Our documentary navigates these remarkable aspects within the Book of Watchers: the descent of angels, the birth of giants, the dissemination of arcane knowledge, and the ensuing heavenly judgment. This ancient narrative provides a fascinating glimpse into early Judaic cosmology, angelology, and the foundations of apocalyptic literature. It invites audiences to reflect on the profound influence these mythological stories have on our perception of the divine, the monstrous, and the very nature of human curiosity and exploration. Enoch's mythical roots. The figure of Enoch, long shadowed in the annals of religious history, demands a closer look, more discerning look, especially to unravel the depths of Jewish and Christian thought. His significance, often understated, is crucial for a comprehensive understanding of the evolution of Jewish ideology during the Second Temple period. Our conventional perceptions of Enoch in the Bible, largely shaped by subsequent developments in religious canon and scripture, might need a serious reevaluation. Traditionally, distinctions between what is considered biblical and extra-biblical, sectarian and non-sectarian, canonical and non-canonical, or even Hebrew and Greek have dominated our understanding. However, our exploration into Enoch's narrative suggests a more intricate tapestry of influences and origins. Our last documentary on Enoch casts a revealing light on this enigmatic character, drawing striking parallels with the ancient Adapa myth from Mesopotamia. Adapa, a figure steeped in Mesopotamian mythology, was renowned for his exceptional wisdom, serving as a sage or priest in Ea's temple, Ea being the deity of wisdom and magic. In Eridu, one of the ancient Mesopotamians' oldest cities, Adapa embodies the archetype of the wise yet mortal man. In some renditions of the myth, Ea is portrayed as Adapa's father or creator, symbolizing a profound bond between the deity and his enlightened human servant. While Ea endows Adapa with unparalleled wisdom, he does not grant him eternal life. This aspect of the myth accentuates a crucial dichotomy, the divine bestowal of wisdom juxtaposed with the inherent limitations of human mortality. Adapa's narrative, especially his celestial voyage and encounters with the gods, mirrors the intricacies and contradictions inherent in the divine-human relationship as perceived in Mesopotamian lore. This backdrop provides a compelling context to re-examine Enoch's story, hinting at a profound, perhaps previously overlooked, intercultural exchange that shaped early religious thought. In performing his duties, Adapa found himself fishing on the Tigris River. A violent storm provoked by a fierce wind overturned his boat. In response, Adapa, in a fit of anger, shattered the wings of the south wind, halting its gusts for a week. This act drew the attention of Anu, the deity who summoned Adapa to explain his actions. However, Ea, another god, provided guidance to Adapa, advising him to win over Dumuzid and Gishzida, the celestial gatekeepers, and to abstain from consuming food or drink in the heavens, warning that such substance could be lethal. Adapa, donning attire symbolic of grief, conveyed to Dumuzid and Gishzida that their absence had plunged the land into mourning. In heaven, he was presented with the food of life and the water of life, but he refused them as instructed by Ea. He also accepted garments and oil, using them as advised. When brought before Anu, Adapa explained his refusal to partake in the heavenly banquet, attributing his caution to Ea's counsel. Anu, amused by Ea's machinations, rhetorically questioned what harm Adapa had inflicted upon humanity. He then declared that human beings would endure diseases, though these could be mitigated by the goddess Ninkarak. After this judgment, Adapa was returned to the earth. This myth of Adapa from the Old Babylonian period, circa 1894 BCE to 1595 BCE, to the Neo-Assyrian version, dating to circa 750 BCE, introduces an exorcistic procedure. It repeats that Adapa went to heaven and saw all its secrets. Though still a human being, he thus gained divine knowledge. Adapa's heavenly knowledge is invoked as a means to cure disease. His wisdom is no ordinary wisdom. It has its source in heaven. We could see how this myth sets up the heavenly or divine mediator myths of Moses and Enoch. We can see Adam and Eve written all over this myth as well. It's no coincidence that all of these figures, Adam, Enoch, and Noah, are all primordial characters existing around the beginning of creation. Enki, aka Ea, tricked Adapa, but he did so knowing the gift of godly wisdom would have remained in heaven with the rest of the deities, away from the rest of humanity, if he would have ate the food and drink of life, which he was told would kill him. This really makes one think about Yahweh and Adam in the Garden of Eden. Just as Utnapishtim was separated from the rest of humanity by the gods after being granted immortality and surviving the flood, Adapa would have suffered the same fate, and Enki knew it. Now that Adapa has the gods' wisdom, he can also come back to humanity and teach them the ways of the gods. So just as Adapa was summoned before Anu, Adam was summoned before before Yahweh to answer for their transgressions. Both stories hint at food causing death, and both were tricked into thinking the food would kill them, one with Ea and the other with Yahweh. We see priests in Babylon proclaim "I am Adapa" as incantations, and Judean sectarian scribes claim to have received Enoch's forms of knowledge. These central figures, Adapa and Enoch, are mediators between the divine and mortal realm, and it was during the Persian era we see linguistic Aramaic culture dominant, with which both Babylonian and Judeans participate in. This explains how the Enochian figure was created. In the ancient shadows of Greek mythology, a tale as old as time itself unfolds, first chronicled by the 8th century BCE bard Hesiod in his epic Theogony. Here we meet Prometheus, offspring of the titan Iapetus, and either Clymene or Asia, an Oceanid. He stands alongside his brothers Menetius, Atlas, and Epimetheus in a lineage of mythic proportions. Hesiod paints Prometheus as a cunning figure, daring to challenge the all-knowing, all-powerful Zeus. The scene is set at Mykone, a pivotal moment where gods and mortals negotiate their coexistence. Prometheus, master of guile, presents Zeus with a deceptive choice: nourishing beef concealed within an ox's stomach, symbolizing a valuable essence hidden by an unappealing guise, and mere bones, deceptively cloaked in a tantalizing fat. Zeus, in his choice, unknowingly decrees a lasting tradition for sacrificial offerings. Humans would feast on meat, offering only the fat-wrapped bones to the divine. This trickery, however, incurs Zeus's wrath, leading him to conceal the secret of fire from mankind. In a daring act of defiance, Prometheus reclaims this elemental power, entrapping it within a fennel stalk to illuminate humanity once more. This rebellion ignites further fury in Zeus, who introduces a beguiling, shy maiden crafted from clay by Hephaestus and adorned by Athena into the world of men. This maiden, Pandora, though unnamed by Hesiod, becomes the progenitor of a lineage that brings both delight and despair to mortal men. For his transgressions, Prometheus endures a punishment of eternal torment. Bound in chains, his immortal liver consumed daily by a Zeus-sent eagle, only to regenerate each night. It is not until the hero Heracles, sanctioned by Zeus, intervenes, slaying the eagle and liberating Prometheus from his perpetual agony, that this chapter of mythic history finds its closure. In the Greek myth retold by Hesiod in Works and Days, the story of Prometheus and the stolen fire gets even more interesting. Zeus is really upset with Prometheus for tricking him, so he decides to hide not just fire, but also the basic things people need to live. Hesiod suggests that if Prometheus hadn't made Zeus mad, life would have been super easy for humans, with plenty of food and no need to work hard. We can see Adam written all over this. In this version of the story, we also learn more about the first woman, made by the god Hephaestus from earth and water. Her name is Pandora, which means all gifts. Zeus gets a bunch of other gods and goddesses like Athena, Aphrodite, and Hermes to help make Pandora special. But here's the catch. After Prometheus steals fire, Zeus sends Pandora to humans as a kind of punishment. Prometheus's brother, Epimetheus, ignores a warning and accepts Pandora. She comes with a jar, and when she opens it, all sorts of bad stuff like sorrow and diseases come out. Pandora quickly closes the jar, but it's too late to stop these things from spreading. The only thing left inside the jar is hope, because Zeus told Pandora to close it before hope could escape. This part of the story shows that even when things are tough, there's always a little bit of hope left. Pandora can be compared to Eve in Genesis, and you could see the punishment of diseases leading to death in this, as well as the earlier Adapa myth, where Anu curses mankind with diseases. In the Prometheus myth, there was a heavenly war between the Greek gods and their parents, Titans. Prometheus, a Titan himself, uniquely managed to steer clear of the direct and cosmic clash between Zeus and the Olympians and Kronos with the other Titans. This battle, known as the Titanomachy, was a defining moment in Greek mythology, marking the struggle for supremacy between the old and new gods. Prometheus' decision to avoid involvement in this epic conflict sets him apart from his fellow Titans and played a crucial role in shaping his own legendary narrative within Greek mythology. In addition to giving humanity fire, Prometheus claims to have taught them the arts of civilization, such as writing, mathematics, agriculture, medicine, and science. The Titans' greatest benefaction for humanity seems to have been saving them from complete destruction, in an apparent twist on the myth of the so-called 5 Ages of Man found in Hesiod's Works and Days, wherein Kronos and later Zeus created and destroyed 5 successive races of humanity. Prometheus asserts that Zeus had wanted to obliterate the human race, but that he somehow stopped him, and just like the Sumerian myth of Enki or later Babylonian myth of Ea, Prometheus, the Titan from Greek mythology, may have been an influence to Enoch, as some scholars suggest. He was also a bringer of civilization who protected humanity against the other gods, including during the flood, as well as created man from clay. The oldest myth from which the ascent to heaven motif is seen is in the figure of Etana, but we covered that in the previous Enoch documentary and can potentially cover Etana in much greater length in a future Enoch documentary or a standalone video on his myth. I want to see comments. Let me know what you would like to see. Thanks for those comments. If you haven't seen the first video, these videos will go deeply important. We understand their origins and why humans wrote them. The Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch, also known as 1 Enoch, is an ancient text rooted in Jewish apocalyptic literature, traditionally attributed to the biblical figure Enoch, the great-great-grandfather of Noah, though scholars have long realized Enoch never wrote it, because Enoch didn't exist. This work delves into the origins of demons and the Nephilim, the reasons behind the fall of certain angels, the moral justification for the Genesis flood, and prophecies about the Messiah's 1,000-year reign. Alongside 1 Enoch, 2 other texts, 2 Enoch and 3 Enoch, are also ascribed to Enoch, though none are widely recognized as canonical in most Jewish or Christian denominations. Scholarly estimates place the oldest sections of 1 Enoch, particularly the Book of the Watchers, around 300 to 200 BCE, with the more recent parts, like the Book of Parables, dating to approximately 100 BCE. The original language of the text is believed to be either Aramaic or Hebrew, common languages for Jewish writings of the time. Ephraim Isaac, a notable scholar in this field, suggests that similar to the Book of Daniel, 1 Enoch might have been composed in both Aramaic and Hebrew. However, no complete Hebrew versions have survived. The existence of various Aramaic fragments among the Dead Sea Scrolls, as well as portions in Koine Greek and Latin, demonstrate the text's historical presence among Jews and early Christians in the Near East. Additionally, the book was referenced by some authors in the 1st and 2nd centuries, including in the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs. Its influence extends to the New Testament, where a brief excerpt from 1 Enoch 1:9 is cited in the Epistle of Jude. This particular passage, attributed to Enoch, the 7th from Adam, 1 Enoch 60 verse 8, is actually a midrash or interpretive commentary on Deuteronomy 33:2. Copies of the text's earlier sections were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. Today, the complete Book of Enoch survives only in a translation into Ge'ez, an ancient Ethiopian language. It is recognized as canonical by the Ethiopian Jewish community, known as Beta Israel, and the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, while other Jewish and Christian groups generally do not consider it canonical or divinely inspired. They often acknowledge its historical and theological significance. In a recent article written by James Natty and Seth Sanders, a very important observation must be made as we look at Enoch. The abstract to the article reads,
"Recent scholarship on the Hebrew Bible and Second Temple Judaism has come to realize that there was no canon in the period in which this literature was produced. The division of this corpus into biblical versus non-post-biblical books represents a later theological claim, not one valid for early Judaism. It is an urgent task of contemporary scholarship to organize the corpus in more useful new ways, free of these misleadingly anachronistic assumptions. This issue of Metatron takes up the challenge of mapping this corpus according to different criteria, and it features a range of responses to how this collection ought to be imagined.
There was no Bible, in our sense, found at Qumran of a clear list of which books were sacred and authoritative. Later, in around the 300s to 400s CE, we see things like the Letter of Athanasius. Scholars like Michael Stone, James Vanderkam, and Robert Kraft have observed that the Qumran texts, which include early Jewish writings, don't adhere to the structure or order of the Hebrew Bible as it's known today. These texts often give precedence to other works, such as Enoch literature, which predates some of the biblical books like Daniel. Recent scholars, including Hindi Najman, Eva Marokshek, and Annette Yoshiko Reed, have furthered our understanding by challenging the traditional division between biblical and post-biblical texts, arguing these categories are historically inaccurate. However, to fully embrace this new perspective, academic inquiry must evolve beyond merely criticizing these outdated distinctions. It requires a fundamental rethinking of what constitutes biblical literature, integrating it with what has been previously termed post-biblical. If this change is confined only to the study of the Second Temple period, without affecting the broader field of Hebrew Bible studies, the old divisions will persist. Molly Zahn's work initiates this shift by proposing new analytical frameworks and comparisons that move beyond the outdated dichotomy of biblical and post-biblical literature. Those who shout the Book of Enoch down because Enoch isn't in their Bible are just limiting their understanding of this material. For those of the Christian persuasion, you may want to take a look at one of your cherished New Testament books that mention Enoch, the seventh from Adam, which is quoted in Jude 1:14 through 15.
And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convict all that are ungodly among them, of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
Compare this with 1 Enoch 1:9, translated from the Ethiopic, found also in Qumran Scroll 4Q204.
And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
The original source for the 1 Enoch 1:9 passage may be Deuteronomy 33:2. He cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones. Jude seems to clearly have used Enoch, as several scholars have long noted. Jude even tells us Enoch is seventh from Adam, which isn't found in Genesis, but is seen in 1 Enoch, a much older book. The books of Hebrews, 1 Peter and 2 Peter also appear to contain Enoch material. This video isn't going to waste your time trying to build a solid case showing how the authors of some of the New Testament seem to be inspired by Enochian material. And just as the canon isn't a fixed ordeal on what is officially known as scripture, we will venture into the Enochian works, treating it as valuable texts, teaching us what Judeans around the 300s BCE onward were thinking about the world. Dr. Seth L. Sanders says the Enoch tradition grew in the Hellenistic period, late antiquity, and Middle Ages. Enoch's structure. We know about the Jewish Torah, which consisted of 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Well, there may have been some ancient drama here for your inquisitive minds. Professor Gabriel Boccaccini has postulated that 2 different Torahs were floating around in various Jewish communities. Our Torah that we have in our Bibles today, that centralizes Moses was one, and the other priestly group had a Torah with Enoch as their centralized figure and a heavenly revealer. Both groups seemed to wrestle over the temple in Jerusalem. Why bring this up? The reason is that one Enoch is divided up into 5 sections, just like the Torah is 5 books. It's possible one Enoch having 5 books may be anachronistic, being the books were written in different periods. Simply put, some scholars dispute this idea of Enoch being a competitive Torah in the earlier period in which the Book of the Watchers and the Book of the Luminaries was scribed. The Book of the Watchers, 1 Enoch 1 through 36, describes Enoch's journey. Enoch, a righteous man, is given heavenly visions. He sees the judgment of the fallen angels and the secrets of the universe, including the workings of the stars and the thunder. The fallen angels. This section tells the story of the fallen angels who descend to earth, marry human women, and beget giants. It describes their teachings of forbidden knowledge and their subsequent punishment. Enoch's intercession. Enoch acts as an intercessor between the fallen angels and God.
I used to be trapped in the cycle of bad credit, but then I discovered Self's credit builder account.
Though their plea for forgiveness is ultimately denied. The second book, which is the Book of Parables or Similitudes, 1 Enoch 37 through 71, discusses the Messianic kingdom. This part contains visions of a future Messianic kingdom, the coming judgment, and the fate of the righteous and wicked, the Son of Man. Enoch sees the Son of Man, a heavenly figure who is destined to judge the world. The third book, the Astronomical Book, 1 Enoch 72 to 82, discusses cosmic secrets. Enoch is taught about the movement of the heavenly bodies, understanding the order of the stars, the sun, and the moon. The fourth book, the Book of Dream Visions, 1 Enoch 83 to 90, discusses Enoch's dream. Enoch dreams of the history of Israel, symbolized by animals. This section allegorically covers the history from the creation to the Maccabean revolt. And the fifth book, the Epistle of Enoch, 1 Enoch 91 to 108, it discusses admonitions and warnings. This part includes Enoch's admonitions to his children and warnings about the sin and righteousness, with prophecies about the fate of the righteous and the wicked. In this documentary, we will focus on the Book of the Watchers, that is, from chapters 1 through 36. This book can be divided up into 4 sections to summarize the themes as such. Introduction to the Watchers, chapters 1 through 5. These opening chapters introduce Enoch and the context of his revelations. It includes visions of the end of the world and divine judgment. Enoch serves as an intermediary between heaven and earth. The Descent of the Watchers, chapters 6 through 11. This section narrates the story of the Watchers, a group of angels who descended to earth. They were captivated by human women and subsequently took them as wives, leading to the birth of the Nephilim, giants or mighty ones. Their actions disrupted the natural order, leading to widespread corruption and violence. Enoch's petition and journey, chapters 12 through 16. Enoch is approached by the fallen angels to intercede on their behalf with God. These chapters describe Enoch's journey through earth and Sheol, the underworld, witnessing the punishment of the fallen angels and the spirits of their offspring, visions of judgment and the cosmic tour. Chapter 17 through 36. Enoch receives visions of heaven and the secrets of the universe. These include descriptions of celestial storehouses, astronomical phenomena, and the workings of nature. The concept of cosmic geography is prominent, with Enoch visiting various heavens and otherworldly realms. The themes of divine judgment and the ultimate fate of the righteous and the wicked are elaborated upon. Throughout, the Book of the Watchers explores themes of divine justice, angelic rebellion, the interplay between spiritual and earthly realms, and the role of Enoch as a mediator and visionary. It has been influential in shaping Jewish mystical traditions as well as early Christian thought regarding angels, demons, and the end times. The Watcher's Secrets. Here's where things get tantalizingly interesting in the Book of Watchers. Picture this: a grand finale with an apocalyptic twist, where the good guys get their just rewards, inheriting the earth no less, while the baddies face imminent divine retribution. Sounds a bit like a celestial courtroom drama with a Jesus-esque flavor, doesn't it? But hold on, what kicked off this divine drama in the first place? Why would a deity consider a total planetary reboot, life wipe included, sparing only Noah and his crew? The book isn't just spinning a yarn, it's keen on giving you the inside scoop on why that infamous flood was more than just an act of divine temper tantrum.
The rebellion begins when the sons of men had multiplied. In those days, beautiful and comely daughters were born to them. And the watchers, the sons of heaven, saw them and desired them. And they said to one another, "Come, let us choose for ourselves wives from the daughters of men, and let us beget children for ourselves." And Shemihazar, their chief, said to them, "I fear that you will not want to do this deed, and I alone shall be guilty of a great sin." And they all answered him and said, "Let us all swear an oath, and let us all bind one another with a curse, that none of us turn back from this counsel until we fulfill it and do this deed." Then they all swore together and bound one another with a curse. And they were, all of them, 200, who descended in the days of Jared onto the peak of Mount Hermon. And they called the mountain Hermon, because they swore and bound one another with a curse on it. Enoch 6:1-7. These and all the others with them took for themselves wives from among them such as they chose, and they began to go into them, and to defile themselves through them, and to teach them sorcery and charms, and to reveal to them the cutting of roots and plants. And they conceived from them and bore to them great giants. And the giants begot Nephilim, and to the Nephilim were born Liud plus. And they were growing in accordance with their greatness. They were devouring the labor of all the sons of men, and men were not able to supply them. And the giants began to kill men, and to devour them. And they began to sin against the birds and beasts and creeping things and the fish, and to devour one another's flesh, and they drank the blood. Then the earth brought accusation against the lawless ones. 1 Enoch 7:1-2.
Now we turn to the secrets the Watchers reveal.
Asael taught men to make swords of iron and weapons and shields and breastplates and every instrument of war. He showed them metals of the earth and how they should work gold to fashion it suitably, and concerning silver, to fashion it for bracelets and ornaments for women. And he showed them concerning antimony and eye paint and all manner of precious stones and dyes. And the sons of men made them for themselves and for their daughters, and they transgressed and led the holy ones astray. See, and there was much godlessness on the earth, and they made their ways desolate. Shemihazar taught spells and the cutting of roots. Hermani taught sorcery for the loosing of spells and magic and skill. Barakel taught the signs of the lightning flashes. Kokabel taught the signs of the stars. Zekel taught the signs of the shooting stars. Artikov taught the signs of the earth. Shamsiel taught the signs of the sun. Sariel taught the signs of the moon. And they all began to reveal mysteries to their wives and to their children. And as men were perishing, the cry went up to heaven. 1 Enoch 8:1-4.
Indeed, some scholars propose an intriguing theory regarding the contents of the Book of Watchers, particularly in chapter 8. They suggest that the knowledge imparted by the fallen angels, or Watchers, in this chapter originates from a tradition entirely distinct from that of the preceding chapter. The previous section describes the union of mortal women with these Watchers, a narrative rich in its own right. This divergence in thematic content between the two chapters has led to a scholarly debate, with experts delving into the possibility these sections draw from separate mythological or theological traditions. The contrast between the esoteric knowledge shared by the Watchers in chapter 8 and the earlier narrative of celestial human interactions underscores the complexity and layered nature of the text. The narrative in the Book of Watchers takes a dramatic turn as it introduces a crucial moment where the four archangels, Michael, Sariel, Raphael, and Gabriel, approach Yahweh. They convey the dire state of affairs on earth, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. In response to their alarming report, the Most High Yahweh takes decisive action. Yahweh dispatches Sariel with a vital mission to the son of Lamech. Sariel's message is one of both warning and instruction. He is to tell the son of Lamech to seek refuge, to hide himself, as a cataclysmic event is on the horizon. This event, as foretold by Sariel, is nothing less than the end of the world as they know it, a deluge so vast and overwhelming that it would lead to the destruction of all life and the complete inundation of the earth. Following this, Yahweh assigns another critical task to Raphael. Raphael's mission, although not detailed in this segment, is implied to be of significant importance, aligning with the overarching theme of divine intervention and the execution of Yahweh's will in response to the corruption and turmoil plaguing the earth. This sequence of events underscores the celestial hierarchy's active role in the unfolding divine plan and sets the stage for further developments in this complex and richly layered narrative.
To Raphael he said, "Go, Raphael, and bind Asael hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the wilderness that is in Dudael. Throw him there, and lay beneath him sharp and jagged stones, and cover him with darkness, and let him dwell there for an exceedingly long time. Cover up his face, and let him not see the light. And on the day of the great judgment, he will be led away to the burning conflagration, and heal the earth, which the watchers have desolated, and announce the healing of the earth, that the plague may be healed, and all the sons of men may not perish because of the mystery that the watchers told and taught their sons. And all the earth was made desolate by the deeds of the teaching of Asael, and over him write all the sins." 1 Enoch 4:8.
In a pivotal moment within the Book of Watchers, Yahweh decides to take decisive action against the Watchers and their offspring. To carry out this formidable task, Yahweh turns to Gabriel, one of the 4 archangels. Yahweh's decision to intervene directly and forcefully highlights the gravity of the situation created by the Watchers and their offspring on earth. This moment is significant as it demonstrates not only Yahweh's authority and power, but also the seriousness with which transgressions against the divine order are treated. Gabriel, known for his strength and loyalty, is thus chosen as the instrument of this divine retribution, marking a key point in the narrative where celestial justice is about to get executed.
"Go, Gabriel, to the bastards, to the half-breeds, to the sons of miscegenation, and destroy the sons of the watchers from among the sons of men. Send them against one another in a war of destruction. Length of days they will not have, and no petition will be granted to their fathers in their behalf, that they should expect to live an everlasting life, nor even that each of them should live 500 years.
As the narrative in the Book of Watchers reaches a climatic point, Yahweh makes a momentous decision, sending Michael the archangel to execute a sweeping judgment. Michael, often portrayed as the mightiest and most formidable among the archangels, is entrusted with the grave task of bringing about total destruction to all the wicked on earth. This act signifies a turning point in the story where divine justice is no longer just a warning, but becomes an active, unstoppable force. The choice of Michael for this mission underscores the seriousness of the transgression committed by the wicked and the extent of the response deemed necessary by Yahweh. It's a moment that vividly illustrates the theme of cosmic justice and the role of celestial beings as executors of the divine will, shaping the course of human history and the fate of the world. Michael's role as the harbinger of this ultimate judgment is a testament to his status and power within the celestial hierarchy.
"Go, Michael, bind Shemihaza and the others with him, who have mated with the daughters of men, so that they were defiled by them in their uncleanness. And when their sons perish and they see the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, until the day of their judgment and consummation, until the everlasting judgment is consummated. Then they will be led away to the fiery abyss, and to the torture, and to the prison, where they will be confined forever. And everyone who is condemned and destroyed henceforth will be bound together with them until the consummation of their generation. Destroy all the spirits of the half-breeds and the sons of the watchers, because they have wronged men." 1 Enoch 10:11-15.
Did Enoch die or live?